David Draiman von Disturbed steht neben mir. How important is posing for you on the stage?
There were times in our career where I would be a little bit more theatrical with the intros, and you know, the whole idea of the prison jumpsuit was during the Sickness record, and it was meant to symbolize that people who are individuals, who are different from everybody else, are imprisoned, are stifled, are kept quiet. You know, that was the idea behind it. But I think people kind of lost the whole point of those theatrical sorts of introductions. They started thinking that it was some sort of shock rock tactic like Manson does, and it's really has nothing to do with it, and we're not really into that. So we kind of stripped that away from our set. You know, try to make it a little bit more straight up rock show.
How much of your former punk rock days are still in your blood when you're doing a performance?
Not a lot, to be honest with you. If anything, it's just the energy, you know, that is still very much a part of that whole world that I kind of bring with me. You know, you can't beat, you know, straight up punk for its energy, because it has this, you know, beautiful simplicity about it that enables you to just kind of let loose. What we do isn't kind of like that, so it's a little more difficult to be that free, but there's definitely aspects of it.
I can remember seeing a show in New York from you. That was pretty much after 9/11 happened, and during the show there were voices rising in the audience saying like "fuck Iraq," and I can remember I was kind of a little bit shocked by that, but you didn't react to that. You ignored it. Didn't you realize what was going on, or did you ignore it on purpose?
I always realize what's going on, but I you know, people saying "fuck Iraq" had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11. That was the biggest misconception of, you know, Mr. Bush and his presidency, was trying to tie those two issues together. One had nothing to do with the other. It's nonsense, and I'm not going to go ahead and encourage that way of thought, whether it's at one of our shows, or whether it's walking the street, or whether it's having a conversation with somebody in a pub. I'm very, very stubborn when it comes to things like that. I'm stubborn when it comes to just about everything, but when it comes to my beliefs, I'm very passionate about them, and if somebody's saying something I won't agree with, I'm not necessarily going to knock them down, but I'm sure as hell not going to support them either.
So, but does this happen very often, that people bring kind of this political feeling to your shows?
Sometimes it depends. You know, we've definitely been very outspoken in terms of our views, while at the same point we're very much, you know, anti-war, but on the other hand, very pro-U.S. military. So many of the United States soldiers will listen to our music prior to going into battle, or play it going into battle itself. Kind of like, oh God, why can't I think of the name of the movie? Apocalypse Now. You know, when the cavalry on the helicopters will be coming in, similar to that. And so you know, and I have nothing but the utmost pride that they find strength and courage in our music.
Yeah, but I think somebody who feels strong and probably would shoot on somebody earlier than somebody who's afraid.
So much the better. Better them than us. When it comes to any of that, I'm completely supportive of our soldiers, as opposed to, if somebody's got to die, I'd rather it be the people they're fighting than our people. To be honest with you, I don't want anyone to die to begin with. I don't want there to be war. And soldiers are ordered to do what they have to do. They have no choice. They don't make the decisions. It's the people behind the desks that make the decisions, that play games with people's lives. But for the soldier that has to be out there, who's simply doing what he or she is ordered to do, it's not their fault. And I would much rather them be safe than the people who they are asked to fight. That's just a case of priorities, you know.
How much does this attitude have to do with the fact that you're coming from a Jewish family? I read somewhere that your grandfather has been a victim of Holocaust.
My attitude comes from a whole bunch of different places. That definitely plays a part of it. I mean, my entire mother's side of the family was wiped out in the Holocaust. So I don't know how much of a present day factor that impacts upon with me. I'm Israeli. Modern day events impact upon me a lot more significantly and seriously than that does, just because it's something that touches me more directly. It's something I can see and feel, and as opposed to something I'm just being told about.